almost completely reversed. Today, tyranny looms large. The rights of man have been undermined in numerous areas. Most of all, materialism is rampant among groups on the ground that it is only by the extinction of ideals that slavery can be perpetuated. Materialism leads inevitably toward the acceptance of slavery. It removes from the individual his vision of greater spiritual value, and in this way takes away from him his basic impulse to defend and protect such value at all cost. So we have today a world which perhaps is not much better off in total than it was 500 years ago. It knows more, it is richer, and in some areas, such as the Western Hemisphere, its progress continues at a reasonable rate. But for the rest of the world, life is closing in, and has closed in for a number of years. It has reduced its boundaries to medieval fortresses. It has divided its projects and purposes, and under the general name and term of mechanistic progress, it has lost sight of most of the values that are real and dear to the private citizen. The family is attacked. The home is attacked. The right of private assembly is attacked. The privilege of free vote is attacked. The right to worship, to have convictions, is either attacked or ridiculed. And by degrees, the private citizen is reduced to the state in which the need for private assembly is strongly re-emphasized. As a result of this condition, such private assembly is rising throughout these areas. Private assembly, in some instances, for private worship. And there are countries today where worship is not very different from the way it was in the catacombs under Rome during the time of the pagan Caesars. It is necessary to meet secretly in cellar and attic, and to watch constantly for a traitor in your midst. It is hard for us to imagine that such things can exist today. But there are actually secret societies that have been created in certain parts of Eastern Europe for one purpose only: the circulation among the members of a Western newspaper. Something which could and might very likely cause the most terrible penalty if any one of that little circle should betray the others. It is a little hard for us to imagine all this, but it is true. Now, your secret society, moving into a situation, moves in with a tremendous traditional background. All through Eastern Europe, secret societies existed from before the beginning of the Christian era. These secret societies had long and illustrious histories of fighting for the right of these peoples to exist, to overcome the restrictions and limitations of arbitrary aristocracies. These secret societies struggled for freedom from serfdom, the establishment of citizenship, the right to possess property, the right to educate children, the right to pray, the right to read and write. These things were fought for with every ounce of courage that human beings possessed. There were numerous martyrs toward these ends, and some very hideous and horrible things happened beyond almost the imagination of modern man. He cannot see how anyone could so persecute another for such reasonable and commendable objectives. These societies were and still are known to the peoples of these countries. They are part of the tradition of these peoples, like the famous Bogomils of the Balkans and other groups, constantly struggling until they attained a measure of achievement and made possible the glimpse of a better way of life. Then came an opening of Europe. Opportunity, travel brought visitors, education increased, schools sprang up everywhere. Freedom of culture began to be enjoyed. In some cases comparatively moderate, but at the same time far in excess of that which previously existed. Then all of a sudden, with two great world wars, this progress was stopped in its tracks.